The series begins with a beautiful girl named Su Yangxi conducting a training session for her social media followers, showing them how to do their makeup. Having remembered about the casting for the role of a presenter in a large company, the girl hurries to the interview. Ignoring the traffic signals, she wants to run across the red light, but a man drives out of the crosswalk. Yangxi believes that he almost hit her, not realizing that Sicheng saved the girl from a passing car capable of not just hitting her, but taking her life. The man driving the fancy car named Sicheng is the owner of the large company the girl is rushing to. He is a formidable boss and responsible manager, but he cannot arrange his personal life. Grandmother is very upset about this and constantly pressures her grandson, as a result of which he decided to arrange a casting for the role of his girlfriend in exchange for a good monetary reward. The beauties are ready to do anything to satisfy the rich man, but he rejects superficial girls who are unable to interest him. Yangxi makes a mistake, and instead of being cast as a leading lady, she ends up in the boss's office as a potential girlfriend. At first sight, he falls in love with her, and the girl recognizes in him the very bore who almost ran her down. She passes the interview, but has a fight with Sicheng when she learns that he wants to buy her freedom and make her his girlfriend. Yangxi was counting on another job and indignantly refuses the man's offer, embarrassing him. A little later, the pair meet in a parking lot. The girl is hot and decides to take off her clothes, but Sicheng prevents her from doing so because of the video cameras filming her. The couple gets into an even more awkward position and fall down, resulting in Sicheng kissing Yangxi. A little later, the girl witnesses a fake car accident. The woman throws herself under the wheels of an expensive car and pretends to be a victim, but Yangxi exposes the fraud and saves the women, not realizing that it is Sicheng's aunt and grandmother. The old lady wishes she had a granddaughter like her and is later delighted when she sees the CCTV footage and learns that Sicheng and Yangxi have kissed. The man declares that he is not ready for a relationship and marriage, but the grandmother feels bad. Determined not to upset her, he asks assistant Sito to find a pretty girl, but he makes a mistake and finds Hisi, his twin sister. She likes to spend money and often takes loans, because of which collectors extort money from her and threaten the girl's health. Sicheng meets Hisi and offers to sign a lucrative contract. The girl agrees and receives a deposit, after which she decides to organize a switch. She pays for her mother's treatment in the hospital and informs her that she also needs treatment because of the injuries on her face. Hisi demands that Yangxi pretend to be her and live with Sicheng for a while until he pays them the full amount. Yangxi is against it, but has no choice as she wants to save her mother and help her sister. Accepting the terms of the signed contract, Yangxi pretends to be her sister and goes to the hotel. Meeting the girl on the threshold of the room, Sicheng insistently invites her inside. Once in the man's room, the girl learns that they need to fill out questionnaires to get to know each other better. She must pretend to be not only his girlfriend, but also his wife, and move into the mansion for the sole purpose of pleasing Sicheng's grandmother. After moving into the man's house with her belongings, the girl doesn't feel completely safe, but that's not the only problem. The next morning, Hisi calls her sister and informs her that she will take her mother abroad, as a result of which she will be completely alone. Upset, the girl stops the first cab and rushes to her mother's house, but becomes the victim of a car accident, resulting in her ending up in the hospital. A while later, she comes to her senses and sees the man who caused the accident. Boya decides to take care of the girl and is ready to pay the medical bills for her treatment. Soon Sicheng shows up at the hospital and decides to take the girl home. Bui obstructs him, but realizes that it is better not to do so as not to get into trouble. On the way home, Sicheng reminds the girl that she is married and should not be around other men. Meanwhile, Luan takes a new job as a courier, but is shocked to learn that she has been hired by Sito, for whom she has a crush. They quarrel and Sito threatens to give the girl a bad grade if she doesn't do well. In the course of the scandal, the pair practically fight, but it all ends with an awkward kiss. Upon returning home, Sicheng takes a shower and the girl notices the remote controls and decides to try them out. At one point, Yangxi accidentally turns off the house lights and rushes to the bathroom to ask a man for help. Seeing him without a shirt, the girl is greatly embarrassed by Sicheng's beauty. At night, the couple goes to bed, but Yangtze is forced to sleep on the couch while the man watches her with interest. The next morning, the girl meets Bui, who decides to give her a box of cosmetics and work with him to promote herself on social media. The girl is passionate about it and used to do it for a living before she met Sicheng, so she accepts Bui's offer, not realizing that it could lead to a scandal with her husband. A little later, Yangtze goes to the photo center to choose a wedding dress. During the photo shoot, the couple feels awkward as they are forced to kiss and hug. Grandma sees the photos and is happy for the couple, but decides to add a special ingredient to the soup to bring them even closer together and make them more affectionate to each other. The old lady wants a great-grandchild, so she visits the couple in their bedroom and leaves the soup, asking them to try it together. The girl can't wait for Xicheng, so she eats alone, which makes her feel hot. Yangtze is horny and drunk from her grandmother's soup, so pounces on her husband as soon as he gets home. Plopping Sicheng on the bed, the girl kisses him, after which she falls asleep in her spouse's arms. The next morning, Yangtze goes to her new job and sees a live performance there, in which women apply makeup to the faces of models right outside. Yangtze does a great job, so the manager suggests that she take on further projects and collaborate on a permanent basis. Realizing that this will interfere with cooperation with Buya, the girl decides to meet with him and inform him about it. Sicheng witnesses their dialogue and takes the girl away, jealous of her for Buya. Upon returning home, Sicheng decides to cook dinner, showing off his knife skills. While cooking, he confesses that he suffers from a rare condition in which he needs to see two identical things in front of him, in this case 2 plates of identical food. Yangtze is not surprised by this, as she noticed it when they first met in the office, though she finds it odd that Sicheng doesn't touch his plate of food. She suggests that the man eat dinner and take it easier, but he gets angry and leaves for work. Soon after, Luan calls her friend and asks her to pick her up from a nightclub since she had too much to drink with Sito. Without thinking long, Yangtze rushes to her friend's house, but the men start hitting on her and getting handsy. At that moment, Sicheng appears in the club and defends his wife and takes her home. When he returns, he notices that the girl has rubbed her feet with high heels and decides to help treat the wounds and promises to buy her more comfortable shoes. Meanwhile, Sito and Luan return home to the girl's house and are too drunk to continue socializing. Out of control, the couple undress and go to bed, and in the morning are shocked to see themselves in each other's arms. The next morning, Bui gives the girl a new pair of shoes, which she likes very much. Upon returning home, Yangtze admires the high-heeled shoes, but Sicheng is clearly not happy about it. Grabbing the girl's hand, he takes her to the living room, where he shows her several rows full of shoes from the best brands so she can choose the most suitable ones. Feeling awkward, Yangtze decides to meet Buya and return the gifted heels, but he informs her that he is having a birthday party soon. Not hiding sympathy, Buya invites the girl to the celebration, and she happily agrees. In the evening, Sicheng finds a beautiful doll in her room and doesn't understand where it came from. The girl, noticing this, tries to return it, but ends up tearing off the toy's leg, causing the couple to have a big fight. In an attempt to rectify the situation, Sicheng meets the woman who created the doll and takes her autograph, which has a higher value. Yangtze is pleasantly shocked and hugs the man, but is not ready to completely forgive him, as she is still a bit resentful because of the evening scandal. A little later, Luan calls her friend and informs her that Sicheng will give an interview for the first time in years, and it shocked all the reporters. The next night, the girlfriends do a live broadcast together, after which Yangtze goes to Bu's birthday party. Once at the restaurant, the girl meets no other guests and realizes that this is turning into a romantic date that Buya has lured her to. Unfortunately for the man, their meeting doesn't last long, as Yangtze receives a call from her husband demanding that she come home as soon as possible. When the girl returns, the couple is scandalized as Sicheng doesn't want her grandmother to find out about his wife spending time with other men. Soon after, he informs her that they have to meet with a German businessman tomorrow, and she will negotiate and translate their conversation so that the businessmen understand each other. This becomes a problem for the girl, as it is not she who knows German, but her sister Hisi, whom Yangtze pretends to be. The next night she shows up at the business meeting anyway and uses a translator to solve the communication problem, but is very nervous for fear of making a mistake. A few minutes later, Buja shows up at the meeting and decides to act as an interpreter since he knows German. After the business meeting, Buya completely exposes Yanxi, not only knowing that she had an earpiece in her ear to translate, but also her real name. The girl is startled, but at that moment, Sicheng arrives, who interrupts their dialogue and takes his beloved wife home. On the way home, the couple quarrels, causing the man to linger, deciding to get some fresh air. Soon he returns and feels ill, so the girl takes care of him and puts her husband to bed, promising to be by his side for the rest of his life. The next morning, Sicheng wakes up and feels much better, so he goes to work, where he receives an invitation to a charity auction. Meanwhile, Luan and Yanxi have another live broadcast and receive nice messages from Sicheng and Sito. In the evening, the man gives the girl a pearl necklace and invites her to the auction. Yanxi is touched by the gift, as she has a similar necklace given by her mother. The next day, the girls go to a photo gallery where they meet Bui, who insists on buying a beautiful dress. Yanxi refuses the man, as she doesn't want to quarrel with her husband. Despite this, Buya buys the girl a beautiful dress, which she refuses to accept as a gift. A little later, he sends it by post, but the box with the parcel is found by Sicheng. Acting proactively, the man buys his wife another dress for a charity event, but she becomes ill, resulting in the couple staying at home. Sicheng takes care of his wife and spoils her with home-cooked meals. Meanwhile, Luan and Sito have a very unusual date in a boxing ring. The girl takes advantage of the moment and punches the guy in the face, after which she is replaced by a professional athlete who beats up Sito for several minutes. After a heavy defeat in the ring, Luan shows concern and treats the wounds of the inexperienced fighter. In the morning, Yanxi wakes up with a fever, so Sicheng goes to the auction alone, where he meets Bui again. While there is an argument between the men, the friends communicate via video link, and it becomes clear that the second dress was handed over not by Luan, but by Sicheng, who lied to his wife and bought an expensive outfit. After putting on makeup, the girl decides to attend the event and shocks the guests with her beauty. The couple dances, causing delight and envy, after which the official part of the auction begins. The sale of a porcelain vase, a jade bracelet, and other valuable items begins. At one point, a necklace appears among the lots, just like the one Yanxi's mother gave to her daughter. The girl is shocked by this and is nervous to see the necklace around the model's neck. She asks Sicheng to buy it, believing that the jewelry belongs to her mother and was there by mistake. The man bids and buys the jewelry for an impressive 2.8 million yuan, after which he removes it from the model's neck and puts it on his wife. At this moment, Yanxi experiences pleasant emotions and realizes that they love each other. After the auction, the model tries to greet Sicheng, but he rejects her. As it turns out, they were in a relationship a few years ago, but it ended miserably. The man still feels a deep resentment and asks her not to come near him again. Soon after, Lili greets Bu and it turns out that he is her classmate. A little later, Yanxi tells her friend about what happened at the auction. Luan realizes that Sicheng feels sympathy for her since he spent a lot of money to impress her. The next day, Luli shows up at Sicheng's company and informs him that she will be working for him. The man is not happy, but decides to accept it and welcome his coworker. The girl offers an interesting project, but he rejects her and admits that he would like to fire her. The only reason Sicheng does not do it, Lili's professional skills, contributing to the development of his company. The next morning, Yanxi brings her husband soup and the couple experiences positive emotions as they enjoy a delicious meal. Their lunch is interrupted by Lili and Yanxi becomes jealous of the man, resulting in a hurried return home. In the evening, the grandmother decides to talk to her grandson as she has seen the news that Lili works in their company. She hates the girl and believes that she can ruin the couple's relationship, so she insists that Yanxi also works in the company. The next morning, the couple shows up at the office and announces that they will be working together. This angers Lili and pleases Sicheng, as he enjoys spending time with his wife. In the evening, the couple returns home and Lili and Buya meet at a bar, where the girl learns that Yanxi is not only a girl, but also Sicheng's wife, although this is not said publicly. Assuming that the marriage is not yet official, Liuli decides to use her last chance to win Sicheng back for herself. The next day, Liuli proposes that Yangtze work together, and the girl unexpectedly agrees. The job turns out to be more complicated than Yangtze anticipated, causing her to find herself in an awkward position. Liuli presents several designs in which Yangtze also participated, but the model claims otherwise. After the conference, Yangtze demands an explanation, but Liuli claims that she is her boss, and that it is impossible to divide the credit between team members as it is their common project. Frustrated, Yangtze goes outside and meets Bui, who suggests playing video games to take her mind off her problems. In the evening, Sicheng is worried as he doesn't know where his wife is. He calls her several times, after which Yangtze rejects her husband and asks him to leave her alone. A little later, Liuli gets a call from Buya and asks him to take the girl out for dinner at a particular restaurant. Buya and Yangtze go to a fancy restaurant, where Sicheng and Liuli soon arrive. School friends try to quarrel the couple, and they succumb to the provocation. Yangtze is too nice to Buya, which makes Sicheng jealous of her for another man. In response, he decides to start flirting with Liuli, causing Yangtze to become jealous and leave the restaurant. Sicheng tries to explain the motives for his action, but everything ends with the spouses quarreling. Buya realizes that what they are doing is wrong and suggests not to interfere in the couple's relationship, but Liuli is convinced of the opposite and wants to get Sicheng at any cost. Meanwhile, Sito meets Luan and asks her out on a movie date. Yangtze is angry with her husband and throws his things out of the room, not allowing the man to enter the bedroom. The grandmother supports the girl's decision, as he was flirting with someone else and deserves to be treated that way. A little later, the spouses enter into a dialogue by correspondence and reconcile. Trying to earn forgiveness, the next morning Sicheng praises his wife for her developments. After all, it is she who generates most of the ideas. Liuli feels humiliated and writes a resignation letter, after which she decides to manipulate the man by using depression pills. Soon she appears in Sicheng's office and informs him of her decision, but he easily signs the resignation letter, which was not in Liuli's plans. The girl starts pretending to feel sick and almost passes out, after which she spills pills on the floor. Seeing that it's depression medicine, Sicheng feels pity for the girl. Seeing what is happening, Yangtze decides to act brazenly and passionately kisses her husband, as a result of which a disappointed and depressed Liuli leaves the boss's office without learning that the spouses have quarreled again on the grounds of jealousy. Sito and Luan continue to spend time together, as a result of which they fall asleep in a car on the side of the road. When she wakes up, the girl digs through her boyfriend's phone and finds a strange message, believing that he is hiding something from her. A couple days later, Liuli holds a meeting where she shows off a new design for a project Sicheng did years ago. He approves of her idea, which annoys Yangtze, who goes for a walk in the park. There, the girl finds herself in the middle of twinkling heart-shaped lights and realizes that it is her husband's surprise. Sicheng appears in front of his wife with a bouquet of roses and apologizes for everything that happened. After reconciliation, the man tries to kiss the girl, but the tent falls, spoiling the romantic moment. The next morning, Sicheng's aunt and grandmother leave for a few days, leaving the couple alone. Yangtze, like a true wife, spoils her man with her favorite food and shows her care. As soon as the couple showed up at work, Sito asked his boss for a day off and did not do it in vain. In the evening, Luan was attacked by a drunken customer and the guy defended her, acting like a real gentleman. This allows the couple to reconcile, after which Sito confesses his love to Luan, which brings them even closer together. In the evening, the spouses decide to have dinner at a restaurant, but Yangtze meets Liuli. The model reports that Sicheng has been in love with her since his teenage years and tries to provoke the girl into a scandal. Yangtze realizes that the past cannot be changed and it will forever be the past, so she treats it calmly, which really annoys Liuli. A little later, a slightly sad Yangtze meets her husband and tells him that she trusts him but wants him to stop communicating with Liuli. The next morning, Sicheng calls Liuli to meet and the girl assumes he has decided to confess his love to her. Luan gets into Sito's car and checks the glove compartment, where he finds a ticket to the exhibition and begins to distrust the guy again. Sicheng meets Liuli at an expensive restaurant having spent a long time preparing for the date and wearing his gifts received in the past. The man informs her that he was never really in love with her, just that she was the only girl in the class, and he felt a responsibility to take care of her. Upon hearing this, the girl gets angry, screams and cries, causing a scandal for the entire restaurant. Meanwhile, Yangtze takes a cab to go to work, but at some point realizes that she is being taken to an abandoned warehouse. As soon as the car stops, the girl runs out and calls her friend to ask for help. Luan informs Sicheng of this and he rushes to his wife's aid. At the same time, Yangtze tries to hide, but the man finds her. At the same time, Sicheng and his friends appear on the scene, causing the cab driver to flee. After protecting his wife, Sicheng takes Yangtze home and lies down next to her to protect her sleep. The next morning, the girl receives a call from Shengdong, a man claiming to be her father. When they meet in person, he shows his daughter an investment agreement and informs her that he has failed in business and lost all his money. Shengdong asks his daughter to help him by compensating him for all the years he took care of her, but is firmly refused. The father blackmails the girl, promising to tell Sicheng that he is living with another sister, since Yangtze is pretending to be Hezi. A little later, the girlfriends meet at the mall and discuss each other's success in their personal relationships. Luan is worried that Sito still hasn't asked her to be his girlfriend. Yangtze goes out with the guy to see if he really loves her friend. Luan, who was hiding nearby, comes out from around the corner and reciprocates, making them a happy couple. On the way home, Yangtze notices buoy and drunk Luli, who is not in control of her emotions and actions. When she sees the girl, the model attacks her and pushes her, but Yangtze hides her desire to answer her rudely and returns home. In preparation for her husband's birthday, the girl prepares dinner and goes to Sicheng's home private office to invite him to the table. Noticing a box of photos, she decides to look inside, but drops the box when she sees her spouse in front of her. Yangtze notices that they are childhood photos of Sicheng with some boy, but he gets angry and asks her to leave, ignoring his wife's questions. The girl realizes that the obsession with numbers may be related and Sicheng admits that he had an older brother. One day they were playing outside and the brother was the victim of a car accident. After he lost his life, his parents abandoned their only son, entrusting his upbringing to his grandmother. Heavily reliving the unpleasant memories, Sicheng realizes that he still feels guilty. Throwing the cake on the floor, he retires to his room to be alone, and Yangtze leaves the house. The aunt and grandmother, back home, see the mess and realize that something has happened here. When they meet guests in the form of Sito and Luan, they tell them of Yangtze's disappearance, having gone to town. While the friends are searching for the girl, her mother calls her and tells her that she is feeling much better. In turn, Yangtze tells her mother that she works in a large company and meets a beautiful man to charge her mother with positive emotions. At some point, the girl's phone goes off and she starts crying even harder. It starts raining heavily outside and Yangtze is forced to hide at a bus stop. Sicheng finds her there and offers to discuss everything calmly once again, after which the couple reconciles and kisses. The next morning, the couple enjoys breakfast at a restaurant and invites Sito and Luan to meet them. In the afternoon, the couple takes a walk on the beach, and in the evening they return home and meet their grandmother, still nervous about what happened last night. Grandma pretends not to forgive her grandson and orders the couple to stay locked up in their bedroom, as she wants the birth of a great-grandson. The next day, the office is reviewing new designs and has to pick a winner. Yangtze and Liuli's designs end up in the final, and after the voting it is revealed that the chief's wife won, which disappoints the model. Liuli decides to talk to Sicheng alone, but the man rejects her, after which the girl decides to quit the company. Liuli faints in the street, but Buya appears in time to pick her up and takes her to the hospital. In the evening, the friends meet in a bar and Yangtze admits that she is very worried about Sicheng. She is afraid that sooner or later he will find out the truth about her sister's switch and it will ruin their relationship. At one point, Luan retreats to the restroom and Buya, who has been watching the girls, seizes the moment. He hugs a drunken Yangtze so the photographer can take some compromising pictures. The next morning, these photos appear all over social media, causing people to start gossiping, assuming that Buya and Yangtze are lovers. Once in front of the office, the girl realizes that this has caused problems not only for her but also for the company, as a crowd of journalists have gathered in front of the entrance. Booya rescues the girl and takes her to a restaurant, where she confesses that everything that happened was Lily's cunning plan. Enraged, Yangtze pours a glass of water on him and decides to leave, but Booya grabs her arm. At the same time, Sicheng appears on the scene and beats up Booya. Lily receives a letter with pictures and a note from Booya, learning that he loves her and has an adventurous plan to help her. Realizing that he is in danger, the girl hurriedly leaves the hospital and goes in search of her former classmate. The couple appear in front of reporters to announce their relationship, but here Booya appears claiming otherwise. Sicheng has photos showing the situation from a different angle, confirming that Booya is a liar. Lily appears in front of reporters and defends her classmate, claiming it was all her plan. Enraged, Booya runs away, and Luli rushes after him, but the boy is hit by a car and loses his life as a result. At the same time, Sito receives a letter given to Booya in advance and, after reading it, learns Yangtze's top secret. The next morning, he meets Luan and Yangtze at a restaurant to hear the girl's excuses. Yangtze pleads not to tell her husband anything, as she has done everything to help her mother. Meanwhile, Hisi is recovering her face from her wounds and scars, noticing that her appearance has changed a bit. Financial problems continue to haunt the girl, but she notices a photo of Sicheng with her sister on the internet and decides to use it for selfish purposes. Lili meets Yancy and apologizes for everything, after which she promises to leave the city and start life with a clean slate. The couple begins to live a happy life, and on one such day, Sicheng gives Yangtze a comb symbolizing his love. Soon after, Hisi returns to the city and meets her sister to ask her for money to support their mother. Yangtze meets with Sito and asks to find out where her mother is. In the evening, the couple go to a museum, where Sicheng gives his wife a doll similar to the one he broke shortly after they met. Upon returning home, Yangtze learns that Hisi has come to visit her to start making threats. Her sister promises her that she will never see her mother again unless she gives her money. The next morning, Hisi sneaks into the couple's bedroom and finds an expensive necklace. The sisters go to the store to buy clothes, and Hisi continues to manipulate her sister. In the evening, Yangtze notices Sicheng socializing with her sister and is very jealous of him. He asks Hisi to apply for money from him instead of his wife and closes the loan debt, which puts Yangtze in an even more awkward position. The next night, Hisi tries to seduce the man, but he rejects her, realizing that Yangtze's sister is a bad person. The next day, the man reveals that he has rented an apartment for his wife's sister to live separately, but Hisi continues to manipulate Yangtze. In the evening, the sister asks to bring their mother home, but the girl promises to do so only in exchange for 3 million yuan. Hisi blackmails the sister and gives her 3 days, otherwise she will reveal their deception to Sicheng. At the same time, the girl informs her mother that Yangtze has taken her life and they should forget about her. At dinner, Yangtze soils her sister's dress to check her phone and check the list of outgoing calls. Sito and Luan get a picture with a list of numbers to investigate and find her mother's whereabouts. They soon manage to find the girl's mother in a nursing home, and at night, the friends organize her kidnapping. Hisi visits her mother at the same time and witnesses what is happening. She threatens her sister again to expose their deception, but Sicheng appears on the doorstep, having heard it all. Hisi tells the man that she has signed a marriage contract and switched places with her sister. The disappointed man leaves, unwilling to listen to the excuses of the Yangtze who is pursuing him. The next morning, the girl brings her mother back to the hospital and visits her to spend a few hours with the only person close to her. Shido visits his comrade and asks him to think things over once more, for he and Yangtze truly love each other. Soon, Hisi visits him, but meets her own father here, resulting in a fight between the two. The father would like to hit his daughter for her behavior, but Sicheng asks the man to leave his office and leave them alone. Sicheng informs Hisi that he will sue her and her father for signing contracts under false names. The girl tearfully asks to feel sorry for her because since childhood, her parents have been more fond of Yangtze without giving her the attention she deserves. Showing compassion, Sicheng promises not to sue and promises the girl $1 million so that she can close her debts and start her life with a clean slate. A little later, Heezy calls her sister and mother to apologize for her behavior and actions. Soon Yanxi arrives at Sicheng's office and calls him to confess her love. At the same time, Sito finds documents proving that Yanxi was the girl he met during the interview. Sicheng and Sito made a mistake, but thanks to chance, the man was living with the exact girl he fell in love with at first sight, so it can be said that she didn't deceive him except for minor details. Sicheng hurries outside to talk to Yanxi, but it turns out to be too late, as the girl and her mother went to the airport to return to their hometown. 4 months later, the grandmother continues to terrorize her grandson as she wants a great-grandson. Sicheng finds a way to communicate with his favorite girl through messages, which allows them to get close again. On one such day, Yanxi returns home and finds a note from her mother saying that she has gone to the beach. In the evening, the girl goes in search of her, but meets Sicheng shooting a flaming arrow into barrels nearby. The man confesses that he loved his classmate as a child, and, as it turns out, Yanxi and this girl are the same person. After that, the couple goes to a place prepared on the beach, decorated with flowers. There the girl also sees a sign saying, "Marry me." Sicheng brings her a beautiful bouquet of flowers and gets on his knee to give her an engagement ring. The girl agrees to become his wife again, after which the couple kiss, reaffirming their love for each other. Soon after, the couple returns home and takes Yanxi's mother with them to live near them. The grandmother is happy, as her grandson will not only marry a beautiful and good girl, but will soon give her the great-grandchildren she has been waiting for.